You ever feel like life's got you in a headlock and the ancestors are just watching, shaking their heads? That was me, Anderson. One morning, I grabbed my phone and bam, there she was. Melissa, my Melissa, in a wedding dress. But here's the kicker. She wasn't marrying me. My high school sweetheart, the woman I spent years building my future around, had walked down the aisle with another man. The betrayal. It hit harder than a lion's roar on a quiet night. For months, I was stuck, drowning in bitterness. But you know what they say back home? When the fire burns, it's the ashes that rebuild. And I knew it was time to rise from mine. Ever been knocked down by life? Stick around. This story's for you. When I first saw the house, I thought this has to be a blessing from the ancestors. A 2-story home in a peaceful neighborhood with the kind of charm that whispered stories of old. The price? Unbelievable. It was everything I needed for a fresh start after a year that had broken me in ways I couldn't even put into words. I poured every last kobo, dollar, of my savings into it. The realtor's words echoed in my mind. Price to sell quickly. I should have asked why, but no, I convinced myself it was destiny. Sure, it needed a little work, but I was ready to roll up my sleeves. This house was going to be my sanctuary, or so I thought. Because in this land we have a saying, not every sweet fruit comes without a bitter seed. It wasn't long before the house revealed its secrets, and they weren't meant to be kept. When I finally moved in, I thought my luck was turning around. The house was everything I dreamed of, quiet, charming, and full of possibilities. It felt like a second chance. And then I met Bella. Bella was my next-door neighbor, and let me tell you, she was something else. She had legs that seemed to go on forever, hair that flowed like a river at sunrise, and a smile that could make even the hardest days feel lighter. From the moment I saw her, I couldn't help but be drawn to her. Bella wasn't just beautiful. She had this presence, this energy that made it impossible to look away. She was the kind of woman who made you believe in fresh starts. She wasn't just beautiful. Bella was thoughtful and kind. She had this way of noticing the little things, like how I'd skip meals when I got too caught up fixing the house. One evening, she showed up at my door with a bowl of jollof rice that smelled like home. "You need to eat," she said, flashing that signature smile. Another weekend, when I was fighting with a stubborn leak in the kitchen, she rolled up her sleeves and said, "Let's fix this." Her warmth was magnetic, and I found myself looking forward to her visits. One hot afternoon, I was wrestling with a broken fence when Bella strolled over with a tray of lemonade. "You look like you could use a hand," she said, laughing. She was right. I didn't just need a hand, I needed a distraction. Bella quickly became that and more. We'd sit on the porch, talking for hours about everything and nothing. She had this calming presence, like an evening breeze after a scorching day. For the first time in a long while, I felt at peace. I started to think maybe, just maybe, my luck was finally changing. It started small, like most strange things do. It was my third night in the house when I first noticed it. I was lying in bed, caught in that hazy space between sleep and waking, when I heard whispers, faint, playful murmurs, almost too soft to make out. At first, I thought it was my imagination, but then I heard it again, giggling. It sounded like children, their laughter light and carefree, as if they were playing hopscotch right outside my bedroom door. I sat up, my heart pounding in my chest. Who could it be at this hour? I got up and opened the door, but there was nothing, just the empty hallway and the soft creak of the floorboards under my feet. A chill swept over me, the kind that makes the hairs on your neck stand up. Maybe it's just the wind, I muttered to myself, trying to shake off the unease. I went back to bed, but sleep didn't come easily that night. I should have known that in a place like this, silence is never just silence. A week later, the footsteps started. Late at night, when the house was supposed to be still, I'd hear them. Heavy, deliberate steps pacing back and forth above me in the attic. It sounded like boots, thudding with purpose, like someone was walking around up there in a house I was supposed to be alone in. At first, I tried to ignore it, chalking it up to creaking beams or the house settling, but deep down, I knew it wasn't that. I'd lie in bed, frozen, staring at the ceiling, the sound growing louder with each passing night. The footsteps weren't random. They had a rhythm, like someone was walking in a circle. It was as if the house itself was alive, and whatever was in that attic had a story it was desperate to tell. I wanted to confront it, to go up and see for myself, but in this land, they say, some things are better left undisturbed. I should have listened. One night, I couldn't take it anymore. The footsteps were driving me mad, so I grabbed a flashlight and made my way up the creaky attic stairs. The air was thick with dust, and the wooden beams groaned under my weight, like the house itself was warning me. When I reached the top, I swung the light around, but the attic was empty. No sign of anyone, no shadow lurking in the corners. But then I saw them. Footprints, fresh ones, imprinted in the thick dust, moving directly toward the spot where I stood. My heart stopped. I froze. I turned slowly and saw that the footprints didn't stop there. They circled me. I felt a chill crawl up my spine, like a predator was watching, waiting for its moment. I turned the flashlight down to my feet, hands shaking, and that's when I saw it. The dust around my shoes was shifting, as though something or someone was moving closer. The air turned frigid, cold, like the soft whisper of the evening wind dancing through the trees, and then I heard it. A voice, raspy, low, thick with a local accent, whispered in my ear right next to me, "You are trespassing on sacred ground." A sense of chilling dread filled my soul, and then everything went black. When my eyes finally stirred, I found myself lying in bed. Bella was sitting beside me, her soft hands holding a damp face towel. Her expression was calm, yet there was a flicker of concern in her eyes. "I was worried," she said, her voice like honey laced with warmth. "I didn't see you working outside this morning like you always do. By noon I still hadn't seen you, so I came to check on you." She placed the towel gently on my forehead. "I found you here, sweating like you'd run a marathon. I thought you had a fever, so I decided to help cool you down." Something about the whole thing didn't sit right. How did she find me in bed when the last thing I remembered was being in the attic? Had I been dreaming? It had felt so real. I told her what I thought I had seen in the attic. Bella laughed it off, her voice light and airy, like the whole thing was a silly joke. "You were probably just imagining things. Fever can do that to you," she said with a playful smile, handing me a cup of hot chocolate. "New houses can be creepy. You're just adjusting." Her words sounded logical. I tried to reassure myself that it had all been a dream, but something felt off. I sipped the hot chocolate, hoping it would calm my nerves, but the unsettling memory of the footprints lingered. "Maybe," I muttered, trying to convince myself as much as her, but it felt so real. Bella leaned in closer, her tone soft and reassuring. "It's just a house, Anderson. There's no such thing as ghosts." Her eyes lingered on mine for a moment reassuringly. Before I could say anything else, she stood and began tidying up. "Anyway, you should rest. You've been working too hard on that yard. Let me know if you need anything," she said, smiling as she headed for the door. As soon as she left, the house fell eerily silent. I stared at the hot chocolate in my hands, the aroma rich but unfamiliar, and my thoughts spiraled. Was I truly losing my grip? One afternoon, as I was walking back from town with a bag of supplies slung over my shoulder, I spotted Nancy, my nosy neighbor, ambling toward me from her yard. My stomach sank. Nancy was the type of person I had been actively avoiding since moving in, curious to a fault and incapable of keeping a conversation short. Despite my best efforts to sidestep her, she always seemed to find a way to trap me in endless chatter. Before I could duck into the driveway, her voice rang out. "Anderson, just the man I wanted to see." She scurried over, her floral dress swaying in the afternoon breeze. "How are you coping in that house of yours?" she asked with a knowing smile. "You've lasted longer than any of the past occupants." I stiffened but managed a polite nod. "I'm doing fine, thanks," I replied, trying to keep the exchange brief. But Nancy leaned in closer, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial whisper. "Strange things have been known to happen in that house, you know. Some of the past occupants even passed on, unexpectedly." Her words made my chest tighten, but I kept my expression neutral. "I'm sure it's just old stories," I said quickly, hoping to shut the conversation down. Nancy didn't budge. "My grandmother always said that house was cursed, something about unfinished business. Have you seen anything strange since you moved in?" "No," I replied stiffly, but the unease in her tone seeped into my mind. As much as I hated to admit it, I couldn't shake the weight of her words or the air of dread that suddenly seemed to follow me all the way home. That night, I struggled to fall asleep. Every creak of the house sounded louder. Every gust of wind against the windows felt sinister. When I finally drifted off, it wasn't restful. I woke up, or at least I thought I did, to the horrifying sensation of being pinned to my bed. My chest felt like it was being crushed under an invisible weight, and no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't move. My breath quickened, my eyes darting around the dark room. And then I saw it. A shadowy figure standing at the foot of my bed. Its outline was hazy, but its presence was suffocating, radiating a malice that froze me to my core. The figure leaned closer, inch by inch, its face obscured by darkness. My heart pounded in my ears as I fought to move, to scream, to do anything, but I was trapped. Just as the shadow loomed so close, I thought it might engulf me, the pressure on my chest lifted. I bolted upright, gasping for air. The room was silent, empty, yet the presence lingered, an unseen force watching from the corners of the room. I sat there for hours, too terrified to close my eyes again, Nancy's words echoing in my mind. Strange things have been known to happen in that house. The house is cursed. The next morning, my mother called, her voice heavy with concern. "Anderson," she began, her tone uncharacteristically serious. "I've been having strange dreams about you in that house." "Dreams? What kind of dreams?" I asked, trying to mask the unease creeping into my chest. "Bad ones," she said flatly. "I saw shadows around you, dark things lurking. Anderson, you need to pray over that house. Something isn't right." I forced a laugh, though it sounded hollow even to me. "Come on, Ma, it's just an old house. You're reading too much into this." But her next words stuck like a thorn. "Son, sometimes what we think is a blessing is a curse in disguise. Be careful." I brushed it off, but her warning gnawed at the edges of my mind throughout the day. By evening, I convinced myself it was just her usual superstition and went to bed early, determined to put it all behind me. That night, the air felt heavier than usual, pressing down on me like a smothering blanket. I woke abruptly to the sound of footsteps, slow, deliberate, and impossibly close. They weren't in the attic this time. They were in the hallway, just outside my bedroom door. My heart pounded as I clutched my phone, its dim screen barely illuminating the room. I held my breath, straining to listen as the footsteps came to a stop. Then, 3 loud knocks echoed on the door, sharp and deliberate. "Bella?" I called out, my voice trembling. There was no answer. I hesitated, every nerve in my body screaming at me to stay put. But I couldn't. Slowly, I got up and crept to the door, gripping the handle like it might burn me. I pulled it open, and the hallway stretched before me, empty and silent. My breath hitched as my eyes fell on the wall directly across from me. There, in dark, oozing letters that dripped like fresh blood, was a single chilling word: leave. Before I could even process the sight, a cold wind swept through the hall, slamming the door shut behind me with a force that rattled the entire house. You ever feel like you're living someone else's nightmare? That's exactly how I felt the day I realized my house wasn't just haunted, it was cursed. And the worst part, the curse wasn't content with lurking in the shadows anymore. No, the house had turned its attention to me. The haunting didn't ease up after I found the word leave scrawled in blood-red streaks across the wall. If anything, it became relentless. Shadows danced just out of sight. Whispers called my name in the stillness of night, and doors slammed shut as though the house itself was alive, angry. One evening, as Bella and I sat in the living room trying to act like everything was normal, the TV flickered. Static erupted across the screen, the sound grating and unnatural. I reached for the remote to turn it off, but then, through the static, a face appeared. A man's face, his hollow eyes bored into mine, and his grin. It wasn't human. It was wide, jagged, and filled with malice, as though he was daring me to stay. Bella gasped, clutching my arm, but before I could say anything, the image disappeared, leaving us in suffocating silence. Terrified and unable to bear it alone any longer, I grabbed my phone and called my mom. My voice was trembling as I spilled everything. The whispers, the shadows, the blood-red message on the wall, and the face in the static. She listened in silence, and when I finished, her voice was firm, almost commanding. "Stay right there," she said. "Don't touch anything. Don't open any doors. I'm coming over with Pastor Agiman. Do not do anything until we get there." The line went dead, but her words hung heavy in the air. My heart was racing, but a part of me felt relieved. Mom wasn't the type to take these things lightly. And Pastor Agiman? He was known in our community as the man you called when the unseen became unbearable. By the time my mother and the pastor arrived, the house felt suffocating. The air was thick, the shadows seemed alive, and even Bella looked uneasy. My mother walked in holding a small Bible and a bottle of anointing oil, her lips moving in silent prayer. "Let's begin," Pastor Agiman said, his voice calm yet commanding, the kind of voice that could cut through chaos. As he prayed, the house responded. The walls groaned, as if under immense pressure, and the lights flickered violently. A bone-chilling wind swept through the room, though every window and door was firmly shut. Bella sat beside me, clutching my hand so tightly I winced. Her grip was cold, unnaturally cold, and then it happened. Bella let out a low, guttural growl that froze the blood in my veins. Her body began to convulse, her movements jerky and unnatural, like a marionette on broken strings. Her eyes rolled back, and when they opened again, they were pitch black, reflecting nothing but void. "You dare bring him here?" A voice snarled. Not Bella's voice, but something deep and monstrous, reverberating through her small frame. Pastor Agiman didn't flinch. He stepped forward, his Bible held high, his words unwavering. "Who are you, spirit? By whose authority do you claim this place?" Bella's, "No, its," lips twisted into a cruel, mocking smile. "I am Isaac," it hissed, the sound laced with malice. "This is my house. You are trespassers, and none of you are welcome here." The laugh that followed wasn't human. It was dark and guttural, a sound that seemed to come from the walls themselves. The room grew colder, the air heavier, and I realized then that we were up against something far more dangerous than I had imagined. Through Pastor Agiman's relentless prayers, the spirit that had claimed Bella began to speak. Its voice was raw with fury, but beneath the anger there was something else, a deep, festering pain. "I was Isaac," it growled, the words dragging through the air like chains. "This was my home, my family, my life." The story it told was one of betrayal and unimaginable cruelty. Isaac had been a wealthy businessman who built the house for his wife Bella and their twin boys. For a time their life was idyllic, until Bella grew restless. She began an affair with the man next door, and together they hatched a sinister plan to rid themselves of Isaac. "One night," Isaac's voice hissed, "as I slept peacefully under the roof I built for them, they drugged me. They dragged me to the attic, my attic, and slaughtered me like an animal. I tried to protect my sons, but they silenced them too. My boys." The walls trembled, as if echoing his agony. Isaac continued, his tone darkening. "They buried us beneath the floorboards, erasing us from the world. And she wept crocodile tears, telling everyone I had abandoned my family. While she mourned in the light, she celebrated in the shadows, moving in with her lover next door. Their plan was simple: sell both houses and flee to paradise, spending my wealth in Hawaii." Bella's body convulsed violently, her face twisted with torment. Isaac's voice deepened, laced with unrelenting rage. "But I wouldn't let her go. Her betrayal tied her here to me, and I made sure her lover felt the wrath of my justice. She belongs to me now. She can never leave, and no one will ever take her place." Suddenly, Bella's voice broke through, fragile and desperate, fighting against the spirit. "He killed my lover," she sobbed, her words fleeting like a gasp of air. "He turned me into his prisoner. I'm trapped." Her face contorted as though two forces were warring within her, one crying out for freedom and the other drowning it in fury. The room grew colder, the lights dimmer, and the house itself seemed to hold its breath, waiting for what would come next. The pastor's prayers grew louder, each word like a hammer striking against an unseen force. "In the name of the Almighty, I command you, Isaac, to leave this house and rest," Bella screamed, her voice a terrifying blend of her own and Isaac's, a chilling duet of anguish and rage. The house erupted in chaos. Furniture hurled itself across the room, windows shattered as if imploding from within, and an oppressive darkness consumed every corner. The air was thick, suffocating, as if the house itself were alive and fighting to keep its terrible secrets hidden. With one final, deafening roar, Isaac's presence exploded outward, a shockwave of cold air rushing through the room. Bella collapsed, her body limp on the floor, gasping for air like she had just surfaced from drowning. The silence that followed was deafening. But the pastor didn't stop. He stood, resolute, and motioned for us to follow him to the attic. My legs trembled as we climbed the creaking stairs, the air growing heavier with each step. At the center of the attic, Pastor Agyeman poured anointing oil over the floorboards, his prayers steady and unyielding. Suddenly, the wood beneath us groaned and splintered, cracking open to reveal a horrifying sight. Skeletal remains curled together in eternal anguish. Isaac and his sons, tears streamed down my face as I realized the truth of his story, the weight of his rage and sorrow. The police were called, and Bella, pale and trembling, confessed everything. She told them of the affair, the murder, and the lies she'd lived for years. When the authorities dug deeper, literally, they uncovered her lover's remains buried in the garden next door. The evidence was irrefutable. Bella was arrested, her crimes laid bare for all to see. As the bodies were carefully exhumed and taken away, Pastor Agyeman stood beside me, his voice calm but firm. "The truth always comes to light," he said, "even when it's buried deep." For the first time since I moved into that house, the air felt lighter, the oppressive weight gone, but as I watched the police cars drive away, I couldn't shake the feeling that Isaac's story wasn't just a haunting, it was a warning. a reminder of what happens when betrayal and greed are left to fester. I sold the house as soon as I could, eager to put the nightmare behind me. With the money, I moved far away, determined to start fresh in a quiet little apartment where nothing could remind me of what I'd lived through. But sometimes, in the dead of night, when the world is silent and still, I hear them. Faint whispers. They drift through the darkness, soft and insistent, calling my name. I tell myself it's just my mind playing tricks on me, scars from a trauma too deep to forget. But deep down, I know the truth. Some doors, once opened, can never truly be closed. At least that's what I tell myself.
Would you stay in a house with a history this dark, or would you leave at the first sign of trouble? Let us know in the comments below. Hi fam, thanks for watching and hope you enjoyed the story. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. We love hearing from you. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification button so you don't miss any of your favorite African folktales. Until next time, it's bye from us at Apenthene African Stories.